You guys want to win a $50 Amazon gift card? All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to enter our giveaway. We're announcing 3 winners on April 30th.
I don't know what's going on here. Who's the bodyguard now?
When 2 fighters step into the octagon, it is supposed to be just that. 2 fighters fighting each other. Unfortunately, there is 1 extra person stuck inside of that cage risking their health, and that's the referee. While almost every single fight in MMA history has seen the referees go completely untouched, there are a few unfortunate examples of the referees either having to step in or, far worse, end up attacked. Normally, I wouldn't be happy that there's not enough entries for a full top 10 list, but of all the videos, I'm pretty glad it's this one. I'm D-Wicked from Watch MMA, and here's 7 times referees ended up getting attacked. Number 7, Roy Nelson. A very simple start. First off, we have Roy Nelson, and honestly, attack is a really bold word to use in this entry, as Roy Nelson hardly even touches the referee. At UFC Fight Night 95, Roy Nelson took on Antonio Silva and ended up winning via knockout in the 2nd round. If you've seen this fight before, you know it's actually one of the more brutal KOs out there. Nelson had Silva downed and defenseless and just kept wailing on him. You can actually see it in the eyes of Silva that he is 100% not going to be able to continue, yet the referee in question, a man by the name of John McCarthy, he just keeps the fight going. It took about 4 to 5 extra punches after Silva was done for sure before McCarthy called Nelson the winner. Roy was obviously upset over what he believed to be a very late stoppage and decided to retaliate by kicking the ref in the ass and knocking him over after the fight was done with. Despite many believing this to be a totally justifiable act, you can't touch a referee without facing penalty, and Nelson was subsequently fined.
In my head, it was like so slow-mo, like I'm having a conversation with John going, hey man, how was the weather over there? You know, like I that's what it felt like. And then I know I'm friends with Bigfoot. I don't need and he has a family. I met his dog. You know, like I don't need to keep on punching him in his face.
Number 6, Razi Jabari. Razi Jabari does not sound like the kind of guy I'd ever want to work with. After losing his fight to hometown hero Honorio Bonario, Jabari was approached by referee Joey Lepiton and asked to shake hands with his opponent. Razi, an ill-tempered sore loser, denied his request and instead shot an insult towards the referee. Joey kept his cool and insisted on the handshake, a long-standing show of respect done at pretty much any respectable MMA fight. Razi remained anti-respect and instead decided to give Lepiton a shove. While Joey kept his cool during the verbal abuse, he's apparently never been one to take real shit from people and immediately charges Jabari and pushes him off towards the ropes before actually taking him down too. Do MMA fighters just forget that most referees were also fighters at one point in these scenarios? Number 5, Bob Asalio. At Evolution AMMA, Bob Asalio took on the man by the name of Ben Sayers, and unfortunately for Bob, Ben absolutely wiped the floor with him. It took Sayers a grand total of 1 punch to send Bob to the ground, and after Ben attempted to get some more shots in, the referee jumps in and actually on top of Bob to call the fight then and there. Unfortunately for the ref, it looks like Bob wasn't actually out just yet. As the bell rings and Sayers gets to his feet, Bob continues his attempted attack, but instead of trying his offense on his scheduled opponent, he continues his barrage on the referee, Keith Peterson. The commentators in question try passing it off as Bob being knocked so hard that he doesn't even realize who he's attacking, but it's pretty clear to everyone involved that he knew full well what he was doing. Whether it was a moment of ignorance from the commentator or a quick thinking cover story, it definitely wasn't correct, as more seconds went by of poor Peterson getting attacked by Bob. After a while, the stagehands hop in there and break things up, and just guessing here, Bob probably never fights at another Evolution AMMA event. Number 4, Colby Covington. The only entry on this list to not get physical. Instead, Colby Covington's beef was all verbal. Actually, no, it was hardly verbal. It was mostly text, to be honest with you. After his loss at UFC 245, Colby hit Twitter and started to rant over his loss being complete bullshit due to, quote, fake referee Mark Goddard and his call to stop the match. It was Colby's first TKO loss, one he clearly disagreed with, as he would hit Twitter not long after the fight to complain, saying, and I quote, I go in there to kill or be killed. You robbed me of that. You robbed the people of a fair fight. You should be ashamed of yourself. Fake eye poke, fake stoppage, fake ref. Damn. Harsh words from a man who likely had his jaw broken that night, but then again, if he was willing to continue in on the fight despite needing immediate hospitalization, maybe he's onto something here.
I've won the whole entire fight. The fight's mine. They're about to wrap the welterweight championship around my waist. And then all of a sudden I slip on a banana peel and I'm getting hit in the back of the head. And Mark Goddard is seeing this right in front of his face that I'm getting hit in the back of the head. You can go look at the video of the 5th round. I take 4 shots in the back of the head and I'm completely coherent. And I cover up the back of my head. And when I cover up the back of my head, he calls the fight. And I stand right up and I protest. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you calling the fight? I'm winning the whole entire fight. There's less than a minute left in the fight. You see a foul right in front of your face and you don't call it. But then when you don't see a foul in front of your face, you give him time and you throw him a life raft in a river when he's drowning. So, that's why he's named Mark Not So Goodard. And he shouldn't be a ref ever again. I feel bad for all the people out there that ever have to deal with him as a ref.
Number 3, Andres Camacho. In this next fight, Camacho here ends up clearly rocked from an impressively hard-looking jab coming straight off a high kick. Camacho goes down quick and the referee, Frank the Crank, calls it on the spot. Camacho immediately jumps back up to his feet, however, and despite clearly being rocked, wants to keep the fight on and starts unleashing hell. Unfortunately, he wasn't aiming those strikes at his opponent, but the Crank. In what looks like an older brother holding his younger sibling down, Frank lets Camacho get a good few swings in before grabbing him behind the neck, pulling him in close. Instead of a counterattack, the ref recognizes that Camacho likely thinks he's still aiming for his opponent and starts to talk to him. You can tell pretty quickly that Camacho starts listening and calming down, leading me to believe he really did think he was going off on his opponent still, so massive props are in order for the Crank on this one. He really did a damn fine job ducking, weaving a little bit, and calming the kid down. Number 2, Nathias Frederick. At Fight UK, Last Man Standing, Nathias Frederick took on a man by the name of Ahmed Aswad, and contrary to everyone else on this list, actually came out victorious. After dazing Ahmed with a right, he advances with a barrage of swings and lands one right on the button and knocks his opponent out. Hell, for good measure, his head even bounces off the cage, so you know he's out. Nathias must have had some kind of personal beef with this guy or just a rough night leading into the fight, because even after the bell rings, Frederick continues his assault. The ref then jumps in and tries to force Nathias off, but still Frederick continues. Finally, the referee has no choice but to get physical with the fighter, and also contrary to all the other entries on this list, actually initiates and dominates the fighter. After trying to pull him off, the ref gets his arms in the perfect position and manages to roll Frederick over and hold him down with a sleeper. Genuinely, one of the slickest moves I've ever seen from a referee, all sports considered. And number 1, Conor McGregor. Of course he tops this list. Conor McGregor wasn't even fighting at the event and in fact didn't even take place for the UFC. Instead, their main competitor, Bellator. After McGregor's teammate Charlie Ward gets the victory at Bellator 187, Conor immediately jumps the cage and charges at his friend, actually taking him down with a running leap, but it was all congratulatory, it was just a hug. But regardless, he had jumped into the cage before the post-fight proceedings, and as such, the referee of the fight tried to pull the two apart. You can actually see the referee push McGregor back once they've split apart and say something to Conor, which clearly pissed off the Irishman as he would desperately attempt charging full speed at said ref. In a matter of moments, there's now a dozen men between McGregor and the now very confused referee. In a fight that wasn't even his, McGregor managed to stir the pot. Now, doesn't that just make too much sense?
Still trying to say, keep going. And it's that same referee who lost my head with him. I said, it's you rat. And you were like, yeah. The beautiful shot, he's out cold. He only knew he was out cold, he's still trying to call it. Oh no, he wasn't, the fight's not over. I said, there's you out on the scene. Delighted.
And those were the 7 times the referees ended up getting in a little bit of a physical altercation. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below after liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications ain't that bell.
We go to the 4th round. Oh, I get poked by Marty Fake Newsman. Mark Goddard looks at me, he's like, no more timeouts. You guys keep fighting. No more timeouts. I'm not stopping it. So he sees a clear foul while I get poked, but the fouls that he didn't see before where I kicked him in the liver, an eye poke on the other side, and he's claiming it's on this side. Oh, I'm getting my corner audio. When he sees a foul, he doesn't call it.